Welcome to Command Center. I'm Bram Weinstein in for Julie Donaldson as we get set for the start of the veteran minicamp tomorrow here in Ashburn. All eyes on the new top quarterback. We'll go one-on-one with Carson Wentz and how he's adjusting to his new team. Plus, does Washington's defense have what it takes to return to the top of the league rankings? We'll buy or sell some of the top storylines surrounding the team. And as head coach Ron Rivera prepares for an important year 3 in Washington, he joins us on the field to take us through his observations from the offseason. And when it comes to learning the NFL playbook, what concepts are harder to pick up than others? We'll have the answer as Command Center kicks off now. Hello and welcome into the practice bubble here on Media Day for Command Center. I'm Bram Whiteside. There's Santana Moss. Logan Paulson is back there somewhere.
Eclipsed by this man right here.
Sammis Reyes.
Nice uniforms, man.
What's going on?
Check out the new duds.
Yeah, man.
Look at this
Fantastic.
thing.
You like them?
I love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
And then they got the perfect model here, the model, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
You like the material, right?
Yeah. So when I got here in 05, the material was more like this, sleek, and it wasn't
Kind
too
of
shiny.
that matte color.
Yeah, the matte color, you know what I mean? We had those kind of pants from the back in the days when they won the championships in those years and stuff like that. The next year, we changed the whole uniform. I don't know why.
You know when they look best? When you score touchdowns against the Cowboys, right? That's when they're going to look best. Sammis, thanks. It's good to see you. All right, during OTAs, Carson Wentz has made an impression at camp. His presence and arm strength are hard to ignore on the field. But with the former second overall pick joining his third team in as many seasons, the pressure to produce is on. And for more on the start of his time here in D.C., here's Wentz with Julie Donaldson.
All right, Carson, OTAs are in the books.
Yeah.
How does it compare, I guess, for just kind of maybe more, not so much to other places, but kind of just where you are in your career now?
Yeah, it's just different. I mean, coming into year 7, family life looks different, big adjustment for entire family, 2 kids now, and learning the lay of the land, not just at work, but the area as well for them. So it's been fun. It's been fun being an older guy in the locker room, a bit of an adjustment too. But the guys are great. And I've enjoyed getting to know them both on and off the field and being around them. And it's been a fun transition so far.
In what way is it different for you being that older guy, as you say?
Yeah, I think the first time I walked in here, it was just this seems like a younger kind of nucleus of a team, a younger locker room. For me, approaching 30, there's only a couple guys that are even in their 30s in that locker room. So it's just different. It's different from a leadership perspective. A lot of younger guys. Our quarterback Sam was born in 2000. So when I was asking his birthday, I'm like, dang, you just turned 21, making me feel old. But it's fun. It's fun to just kind of see guys coming in with different ages, different perspectives, different outlooks on life, and hopefully as a veteran and as a leader, kind of help bring them along the right way.
You've been in a few locker rooms over your career, probably starting from the early on days in Pee Wee. But what is your approach when you're getting in kind of having to learn a new team, knowing you're going to be the guy that has to lead them?
Yeah, just want to be around the guys and build relationships. Everyone's different story, different upbringing, different place in life, different hobbies, different everything. And that's why I love this game, to be honest, because we all come together for one common goal out in the field, but also in the locker room, whether it's off the field, going to dinner, going to lunches, going golfing with guys, just being around them, having fun, going to Top Golf. We did that team event a couple weeks ago. Those things are fun to just kind of break down some barriers, build some relationship, build some chemistry, and just really let guys know that you see them and you care about them and you value that relationship. And hopefully that always translates on the field. But if not, at the end of the day, building these relationships, they last way longer than football.
I want to ask you about, of course, on the field, what you expect and what you've seen from the guys, but who has the best golf game so far?
Probably Tress.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Tress.
He's got a little time to go out there and play golf. When it does come to on the field, how has it kind of just been adjusting to the new offense, the new players, new schemes and all of that? It's
been fun. Little things different here and there from what I'm used to. Going into year 7, I feel like I've seen a lot of football, seen different schemes and different ways to attack defenses. And so it's nothing really, there's no reinventing the wheel here per se, but just seeing Coach Turner's kind of philosophy, how he wants to stretch the ball down the field and stress defenses. And with the playmakers and the speed that we have on offense, it's been fun to kind of see just glimpses of how it's going to look. Obviously, obviously it's OTA, so you're kind of throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks and seeing what's going to work. But it's been fun to see the kind of creativity and the dynamic ability that I think we have and we'll be able to bring to the table this fall.
Coach, one thing that they love about you and that they really wanted to do with this team is be able to stretch the field. Yeah. And everybody already is just raving about your arm. How is it kind of adjusting to some of the playmakers and being able to take advantage of that? Because that's what we keep hearing. Like, Carson's on point. His arm is legit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something from really the moment the trade happened and talking to Coach Turner, just knowing his philosophy. He wants to push it down the field, take advantage of that, and then combine that with the talent and the speed that we already have here on the roster with those receivers and the running backs, tight ends, really everybody getting involved, and something I've always loved doing. I think we all love the big play. We all, want to score and score fast, and there's always those moments, and so just finding ways out in the field to kind of mesh up that timing. We're going to miss some. Again, it's OTAs. That's why it's fun to be here. Really good turnout from the guys. So guys are out there working, and we're building that chemistry, and I think it's going to be a fun year.
After spending the first 5 years of his career with the Philadelphia Eagles, Wentz has plenty of experience playing against the NFC East. 25 career games in division. Carson Wentz is 19-6 against the East, while throwing for an impressive 42 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. All right, back here with Logan Paulson and Santana Moss. Those are good numbers. Yes. What makes him the right fit for Washington, though?
I think that just the offensive philosophy that they're trying to embrace here, this idea of like pushing the football down the field. You mentioned this off camera, just the speed that this receiver group has. Let's exploit that. Let's take advantage of it. And the only way you can do that is if you got a guy who can put the football where you need to go, and that's down the football field.
Yeah, I think some of the things that stand out, just like what you just talked about, just getting the ball to the guys. He's the guy that can get the ball up and down the field. Yeah. We saw him win before, so we know that he can get that done. It's all about now mentally, can we get the same wins that was a winner at one time.
He talked about how he's more mature now in his career, that things have changed. I don't know if it's the same. Obviously, nothing's the same, but you weren't drafted by Washington. You ended up changing teams. Yeah. Did you feel maturity kind of change as your career went along?
I grew up in New York. As much as I didn't want to be in New York when I got drafted, I found myself year by year growing up, finding out how to be a professional. And when I got here in Washington, it was all, uphill from there, or down here, you can say, because I knew what it took to be a professional and play on this level. I think when you're Carson Wentz and you go through some of the things that he's been going through, mentally, physically, you're able to take all that and bundle it up and say, okay, this is what I can do, and this is how I can be in my comfort zone, knowing that I experienced this or I had these experiences. I think the only way you learn in life is going through something, and I think he went through enough for him to come here and be a better Carson Wentz.
And you mentioned his kids, and that's something that I find, like, guys, it changes guys. It changes your priorities. You realize that maybe football isn't the most important thing in the world. It lets you relax that grip on something that you think is super important, and I think you get better play out of some guys, right? It lets you kind of say, hey, I'm not going out tonight, I'm going to go home and be with my family. Kind of calms your lifestyle down. Not that he was going crazy before, but you do see it have a positive effect on guys just in terms of understanding what's important in life.
How does it show up on the field, though? Because that's what's really, for us, going to be the most important thing for him.
Yeah, I think the thing that sticks out to me, and from when I was playing and for myself, was that, like, once I had kids, I realized that as much as football seemed like the most important thing in my life, I realized it wasn't. I realized it was a game. It was something that I did as a profession, and it let me kind of relax. And so those moments, those mistakes, they didn't carry the same kind of weight that they had in the past. And hopefully that happens for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I think the way you have to take any time you're on the field is just separate what's meaningful at that moment. I was going through things year in and year out, but when I stepped between those white lines, it didn't exist. It was all about what happened today, and I knew in order for me to have this career, I had to go out there and perform. So that's what I always relied on. He's
got a skill set too. I mean, he obviously should elevate the skill position players. So as they kind of enter with him, what are they thinking about in working with Carson?
I'm pretty sure when you, and I don't want, no offense to Heineke, but he was a guy that, to me, I think he overachieved. We didn't expect him to go out there and play the way he played these past few years. And, rightfully so, he deserved to have those opportunities because he went out there and took it. But when you have a guy like Wentz, man, and you saw some of the things that he's did in the past, that should give everybody in that room confidence, knowing that he's a guy that can do everything that you saw Heineke do, but to a couple of notches up. And I think that automatically makes this team a winning team. Last year, if you saw, we was a few games shy of having a winning record. He makes us that much better. I remember me and Logan talking about it, some months before. with him last year, we'd be probably plus 3. So I think he gives everybody that confidence knowing that this guy has won before. He's done some great things with a lot of other receivers. We can do those things here with him if we have him at the right mindset.
As you mentioned, last season's offense was led by Taylor Heineke. And if we look at the numbers comparing the two signal callers, Heineke actually threw for more yards, but Carson Wentz with the better touchdown to interception ratio. Here's the crew from NFL Network's Good Morning Football discussing Carson Wentz's upcoming season.
Guys, when we talk about this season for Washington and Wentz a year from now or 9 months from now, what needs to happen for us to say, wow, that went really well? It was great that they brought him in and he played well, and I really like what the Commanders did there, Tom. What has to happen in order for us to have that conversation a year from now?
On a macro level, Kyle, it's playoffs. If they don't go to the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of people with the Commanders who have to answer not just for the Carson Wentz trade, but everything else that's led them in terms of their building process to this point. But on a more micro level, it's just Carson Wentz has to play his best in the biggest moments, which was not the case a year ago.
Yeah, Tom, when you say playoffs, I hear playoffs, but then I also hear Jim Morris Sr. saying, playoffs? But that's what it is. For Carson Wentz, forget about the stats. Like you said, Kyle, he had a good season last year. I think we throw the stats out the window. Last time we had a great statistical season, he was on track to win MVP, and then he tore his ACL, as we all remember. For Carson Wentz, the optics are huge here. And going back to what you're talking about, Kyle, look, last year they had a chance to make the playoffs, and they blew it. Not just the Jacksonville Jaguars game. They lost to the Raiders. So you go in, you got 2 games left. All you got to do is win 1 game, and you're in. And they flat out laid an egg.
He needs to make the postseason. He has to make a run in the playoffs. Why? Well, because the division is out there for the taking. Why? Because the NFC is considerably weaker than the AFC.
So the consensus is out there that this is a playoff season for Washington or it's a bust. And I'll be honest with you, I fall into that camp too. Do you buy or sell that the success of the season is about making the playoffs?
I do buy that on some level. I think that, for this team to be successful with all the pieces that they've added, all the offseason additions, all the free agency moves, that's kind of where it feels like it needs to be, especially after last year, and the year before that. I feel like the team is kind of poised for that. I think it'd be important for Ron to get to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
You're not buying it?
Yeah. I mean, I do believe that Carson has to have some kind of success here, in order to have his career, beyond this year. But I think it's a collective effort. I don't think that it relies on and I've been a receiver for all my life. I've always got, pissed when I hear that the quarterback's supposed to get us to, the quarterback's supposed to put us in position for us to go out there and score. We can score 1,000 points. If the defense isn't stopping anybody, then we in a shootout every game. Yeah. So I do believe collectively we have to be a good team in order for us to see the postseason. But I also believe that Carson Wentz has to be the best version of himself.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a few other topics. Buy or sell? This could be a top 5 defense again.
Ooh, I think I'm going to sell that one, and that's not an indictment of the guys on the field. It's hard to be a top 5 defense in the NFL. It's very, very hard. I think they're going to be a good defense. I think a top 5 defense is a great defense. I don't think they're quite there.
Yeah, I'm selling too. I think from last year alone, they have a long road to cross before they can get back to considerably being one of those better defenses. I think they have the guys in place. They might even gotten better when it comes to the draft and some of the free agencies, but they have to go out there and do it.
Schedule matters. Who you play matters with that. It affects the rankings in the end. All right, buy or sell? Washington now has the best wide receiver group in the NFC East.
I mean, Tanner, you can go first, Tanner.
I'm going to sell it. I love what they have. Trust me, I'm looking forward to these guys going out there and doing work. But they have to do it first. The only guy that has enough productivity leading to this year is Terry. What he displayed last year, we can basically buy that he's going to be the same guy. Sammis was hurt last year. Dawson is looking phenomenal in camp right now, but he hasn't played on this level. So collectively, these guys have to play together and consider themselves a core before they be quoted to being the best core.
I was going to buy and then Santana talked, and I agree with everything that he just said. I think, past performance is a big deal, right? Yeah. And you only have one guy who's proven it and done it. I think that's a huge variable. And you've got these other receiver groups around the division that have played at a high level for a couple of years now. So I'm going to say, let's wait and see.
It's media day. We're supposed to be selling high hopes.
I know.
High hopes.
You should be optimistic about that.
Yeah,
we should
I'm very
be
optimistic, but I got to be real at the same time.
Yeah, we all are. All right, so expectations are high for Ron Rivera as he enters year 3 in D.C., and we'll hear from the head coach. We'll be right back with more Command Center next.
I think our football team is developing, growing. We've played a lot of young guys the last 2 years, which is a good thing. That means they're experienced, they understand, they get it. You know, they've had a year of success. They had a year of getting their butts kicked. But I think we understand that. And I sense that I told the guys this too at the last huddle up, that there's a maturity about the core group of guys we have that I like.
Welcome back to Command Center. We have spent a lot of the time today on this show talking about the playoffs and what it would mean for year 3 for Ron Rivera, who has openly and publicly said it's time for the team to take a step up. They made the playoffs in his first year. They did not a year ago, but after the acquisition of Carson Wentz, expectations have changed. And the coach spoke with Logan Paulson during OTAs about all of it.
Coach, always a pleasure to get to talk to you. So I was thinking, obviously OTA period, it's like this optional team activity. I don't think fans understand how important it is. How important is this period to laying the foundation for your 2022 campaign?
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's about laying down the foundation. You know, we got a bunch of new parts that all have to start learning how to work together, how to fit, how to communicate.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing right now. You've seen a lot of it, especially with the offensive side initially. Yeah. You know, getting Carson in and having him become acclimated to his teammates has been really good. And then defensively, you're really starting to see it, especially with the secondary, the communications. One of the things we talked about last year during the season that we struggled with early in the year, and I think a big part of it was we didn't have them all here during OTAs. This year, you know, we've been where we've only had 2 or 3 guys not here, and in one case, only 1 guy not here. So we've had great participation. We have guys that have come together, have really worked together, and starting to form that bond that you look for in really good teams.
Yeah, and you mentioned the personnel there quite a bit. Are you trying things from a schematic standpoint that are a little bit different from last year to get guys in those better spots?
I believe so. I believe on both sides of the ball, there are some things that we're able now to grow into and do more of.
Yep.
You know, on the offensive side, I think part of it has to do with the fact that, you know, Carson has a different skill set, different type of arm compared to Taylor. So it's allowed Scott to do a couple of other things, different things from what we did last year. Defensively, because we've got so many guys that now have really had a good, solid year. They've laid the foundation. Now you start to see them playing and moving much better, moving with more confidence. That's probably one of the really cool things is you see guys play faster when they're more confident.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the coordinators there. It's been a long time since you were a coordinator. Did you have something you were looking for, and do you have things that you're looking for from your coordinators now in this period to kind of like schematically or from a personnel standpoint?
I think as you look at it schematically is to get that rhythm in terms of play calling. And I know this is just practice, but you know, you watch and especially Jack, because he's such a veteran at it, you know, you see him just kind of, you know, move right into one call from the other. You know, where you want to see Scott as a young coordinator understand that there's a flow, there's a rhythm, and when you get into it, it's about play call, play call, play call. It's not, you know, reaching and grabbing, but it's just everything just kind of flows in. And when you see those rhythms, those are really cool. And one of the things that we do out is we call, you know, we have a move the ball period. And that's real important because, you know, I try to create different situations, you know, whether it be second and short, third and long, you know, third and long, and you want them to have to adjust and adapt and call plays on the run. And then we'll do that also when we do the no huddle periods, you know, where I try to create the up tempo. It's not 2 minute, but it's just up tempo football. Coaches have got to make quick calls, quick decisions.
And it seems like you guys got to that earlier. Like when I played, I was always kind of later in OTAs. How much of that is a testament to like having guys that have been around a lot and having Carson and his experience kind of learning this offense?
Well, I think it's very important because early on in the beginning of OTAs, we only had 3 guys that weren't here for the most part. And that meant everybody was here working, kind of coming together, getting used to one another. And then as we got into this phase of it now, phase 3, you know, we've got all but 1 guy here for the most part, which has been really good. And you see guys really coming together, really kind of working at it. And it is a good testament to just how quickly Carson has picked things up, how quickly the rookies have picked some things up, because we got a lot of those guys involved already. So that's exciting.
And you mentioned the rookies, and last time I got to talk to you was about the draft. And how important is this OTA period to kind of like either confirming your evaluation or kind of letting you know that these guys got something that might be contributing this year?
You know, it does confirm your evaluation, but the biggest part is just what you said. It's about having guys that you can say, man, this guy's going to contribute this year already. And you feel good about our picks because we really think these guys all have an opportunity to come in and be part of what we're doing going forward.
More Command Center next.
He's just going to go through some film. We're going to have some questions afterwards as well. So I'm going to turn this on over to you, and you're just going to take us to school.
Scott Turner, our offensive coordinator, installs the passes with pictures that would look something like this. So here we go. Any questions here on either of these two routes or anything on your minds? I asked who's going to be in attendance and how did you get the invite to this one? And they told me all the things that you guys bought and signed up for. Goodness gracious, you guys must love us.
How'd Coach Zampese do?
Thank you for your help.
So season ticket holders got a private film session with quarterback coach Ken Zampese. Very cool. Let's have one with you guys. What do you got?
All right, so this is something that I think a lot of people have a hard time with. These concepts are what? They're exactly the same, right? What is it called? Scissors, right? Scissors concept. It kind of looks like scissors, people crossing off. It's exactly the same. It would be called the same in the huddle. The difference here is the formation, right? This is trips, right? Trips, and then this is bunch with the F on the ball. So just by saying the formation, what happens?
Changes everybody's alignment. And that's one of the things that I'm hard on. You know, I always tell the guys to know your alignment and your assignment. And so if you know the alignment, the assignment becomes easy.
And that's, I like that you said that, right? Because if I didn't know where to line up on the play, I wouldn't know here that the F has the corner, and I wouldn't know here that the F has the snag, right?
Yeah.
Just based on the formation, it dictates a different concept. So how many times do you see a rookie screw this up?
All the time, because one of the things that I was telling you that I was good at, you know, I'm a guy that, say because I'm a new guy, and they brought me in day one, they gave me both of these concepts, and I had to change the formation. I will listen for that one key word that tells me where I need to be at, and that what makes the difference of knowing what route I have to run.
And a lot of rookies don't do that. They just say, oh, it's scissors, I'm the F, I run the snag. And so it's always funny, you know, TAs, when the guy who lines up here runs a snag and gets chewed out by the coach. But again, that's the thing that a lot of rookies have a hard time with. Formation dictates concept a lot of times, so just make sure you know your formations before you know your concepts.
All right, 3 more days left of minicamp this week. Then training camp is just 6 weeks away. First season as the Washington Commanders. For Santana Moss, Logan Paulson, thanks for joining us on Command Center. We'll see you next time.